Hey everyone, this is Innovators Mindset Podcast. All right. Okay, I am really excited. This is the first time. This is the Brady Bunch moment right now. We got this like I don't think I've ever had this many people on the podcast at the same time. This is like a record. So
All right.
that's pretty
We're
exciting,
excited
right?
about that.
So I actually have Melissa from Medinah School District, Carrie from Keeneyville, and then Heidi from Itasca, all different roles. But what's really cool, the reason that all of us are together is I'm actually going to be joining your school community coming up in August. You're all working together to do this, and we're going to talk about why you're doing that and the benefits of that. But I'm really excited to see your community coming up real quick. This is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Can't wait.
Okay. All right. This is gonna be the thing. Nobody's gonna know who to talk. All right. Okay. So before we kind of get into it, I'm gonna actually get you just to do a quick introduction of yourselves, who you are, what you do today. Melissa, if you can start us off.
Sure. My name is Melissa Langietti. I'm the Director of Education Services in Medinah School District. I've been here for about 18 years, started teaching in the district, taught at the middle school and the intermediate school. I was the principal at primary for 10 years. And now I do some curriculum, some professional development, and some of the business manager pieces to support Medinah.
And I wanted to go to Melissa first because Melissa, works in a school and her lights will go out and then you'll see her, if you're watching on YouTube, she'll have to like get the lighting back on. So I was like,
we do.
hey, we got the light. It was such a school thing because I saw her waving her arms. I'm like, oh, she's like triggering the lights. So awesome. Actually, there's something a little endearing about that. I don't know if it's a good thing or not. Carrie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm Carrie Buckley. I am the Associate Superintendent of Teaching and Learning in Keeneyville. This is my 7th year in the district. Prior to that, I was a principal for 8 years up the road. And I taught 3rd grade. I started my career in 3rd grade. My role here is curriculum instruction, professional development, data assessment support. All 3 of us, we wear a lot of hats.
I was going to say that. It's like, hey, like I do everything, a little bit, custodial services, fixing computers, like kind of everything, right? And so Heidi,
Yes.
we'll end with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Very similar, lots of hats, over 25 years in education, teacher, principal, all the things. Currently, right now, Deputy Superintendent of Itasca School District 10. I will be taking the role of superintendent next year. So this year is lots of learning, lots of new hats being put on while I'm taking some hats off and handing them to people around me to support. So very exciting times.
And before we got on the podcast, I made sure that this was public knowledge, but I'm gonna pretend it's not. I'm like, oh, congratulations, right? And this is the first time anyone's hearing about it. So I know everyone knows, but I just want to pretend this podcast is that big of a deal that you're making your official announcement. Now, actually, Heidi is the one who originally connected with me, and we talked about this, joining you all for that day. So Heidi, I'll get you to start off. What is the reasoning behind like kind of working with the school districts instead of, a lot of people like kind of just like, we want to do our own thing. So what, like when you initially, connected with me, what was the reason behind like bringing these districts together to do this professional learning day?
Yeah, so certainly. So seeing you at FETC this past winter, just kind of going through all your sessions and a little bit of fangirl, right? My little group kind of followed you around. Just sitting there talking to their admin, I thought we need to bring him in. And then since our prior work with Medinah and Keeneyville, and immediately came back and said, hey, do you guys want to join us? We think this would be great for our communities to strengthen. I think the work that we've already done, some of the messages I think would help all of our districts. So just really sitting there, thought we have to make this work.
Yeah.
And I knew they would say yes.
Yeah. Yes. And that like, and by the way, I wasn't looking for a compliment, but thanks, I'll take it.
Oh, I'll take it back.
No, it's mine. So I'm keeping it too. And that's okay. Like, I'm going to clip that part out, share it everywhere. So just that part there, but
give me my ringtone if I ever call you.
I will. That's what we'll see. We'll see if you still like me after I leave. So I think that there is a real power in this too. And like, as you're kind of going through this, I think one of the neat things is y'all working together. But it doesn't mean, hey, we're all doing the exact same things. Like there's, for me, it's always like, and I think this kind of the whole premise of like what I talk about, the innovators mindset, my hope is that you're all kind of learning things through the process, but you do make them your own because each community is different, even though you're pre-K-8, you have similar settings. So like, you know, Carrie, you kind of mentioned that you work down the road. Do you actually like, have you seen some of that process of like how some of the collaboration has kind of spread throughout your districts? And I know other districts in the area, and what's been some of the benefit for your community?
Absolutely. And being here now, I've seen it the most because we have to rely on one another because our districts, my district's only 1,400 kids. So our teachers have to have somebody else that they can go talk to if they have questions about, well, how did you implement the new Illinois literacy plan, or what does that look like in your classroom? Or they want to go observe in a dual language classroom in another district so we can continue to kind of replicate it and make it our own. Having Melissa and Heidi, and then we have 2 other feeders that go to the same high school, having these women to collaborate with has helped support me in my role. And if I can get better, then I can only help my teachers get better and really succeed.
Yeah, and that's such a, like, you know, that is such a nice thing. Like, I don't know, you know, I grew up in Canada, taught there my entire, teaching career. And one of the things that I distinctly remember was the warning of like, teachers don't like sharing their stuff. And you might get a veteran teacher and they'll say like, I've worked on this for 30 years. I'm not just handing it over to somebody new. And I've seen that tremendously shift where people are very, Melissa, there you go. And I've seen that shift tremendously too, right? And like where people could, and I say this to people all the time, if you're starting off in the profession right now, you should be so much better than I was, because not only do you have access to like people down the hall, but you have access to people around the world. And I think what we were talking about as we were kind of getting prior into this is that you all kind of have your own, flavor of what you're doing in your district. You're all learning from each other, but something is very unique. And I talked about the concept of competitive collaboration. Like none of you wants to be like the weaker district or not have good things, but you all come together. Melissa, like how have you seen that kind of benefit? Like, hey, we're kind of paying attention to what the other school district's doing, but like, and we learn from them. How do you kind of see that, throughout your process of the work that you're doing there in Medinah? I want to make sure I'm saying it right. I don't want to say it wrong.
Perfect.
Because I did say funky cold Medina before, so because it is spelled that way a little bit. I'm a little bit embarrassed.
The English language, collaboration takes practice, right? Yeah. It takes practice at every level. So I really think we've worked really hard to have our teachers collaborate within our buildings and then across districts, and for us to collaborate. I do genuinely believe when we see really cool things happening in the other districts, we're excited for them, and we want to hear all about the great things that they're doing, the wonderful teaching and learning practices, and we want to learn from them. And we have such a great, strong relationship that we can reach out to each other and say, like, this is amazing. How are you doing it? How can we tweak it? How can we do it differently? But we want to learn from each other. The last couple of years, we've done a lot of professional development, our 3 districts together. And I think our teachers see the value in that too. They sit together, they share stories, they share successes and some struggles, but they're learning from each other to build on their practices as well. So it's been great.
Yeah, and I like when we were talking, it's interesting because you're all in Illinois, consider yourself small districts, and a big, small, medium district. One of the things I talked about before is totally perception because you might be a huge district in Montana, I don't know, right? And small in another state, medium in another state. But there is a benefit. Like, and I'll go back to Heidi on this one. What is the benefits of working, in a district that is perceived, in the state as small? Because, people are like, oh, we can't do this because of that. But I think there's a lot of benefits to working in a smaller community.
Well, I think small but mighty. I think, looking at how we've worked with other districts, specifically Medinah and Keeneyville, we're modeling. I think we're modeling to the teachers that we're taking risks, we're being vulnerable. And to your question earlier, just about that competitive nature, Melissa says we celebrate too, but we do look and I'm like, how is our score so high there? There's a minute where I'm like, why are our scores not that high? Right. So we do comparison and it's like, I'm happy, but I want to know more. How are they doing that? And why are we not doing that? We have the same customers, pre-K through 8. They look different, but still we need to service them the best that we can. So I think for me, it's going out on a limb and showing the teachers that I'm collaborating. Look, we're being vulnerable. Look, I'm working with someone else. I'm stepping outside my comfort zone. This is what we're asking you to do. And in turn, you're asking your students to do that in the classroom. So the more we can model shows the teachers they need to model. So I don't know if that answers it specifically, but I think for us being small, we have to utilize all of our resources. We don't have, I don't have someone that writes the grants for me. I write the grants and I do the PD and I do other things. Whereas bigger districts, they have all these different things, shelves that they can pull things from. We don't. So we pull from those around us.
Yeah, and and I'll let everyone in on a little secret here. Whatever happened to me last week, we talked about this, and I admitted to them that I started writing a new book, and I'm almost like done it. And they did ask for a preview copy, which I said, yeah, I actually love your feedback. One of the things that I talked about, and I'll get your input on this, Carrie, because I know, again, you're in a smaller community, is I grew up small town in Canada. And one of the arguments I actually make in this book is that school, for me, was not central to community. It like was the community, right? Like it is the community. And I was actually at some place and then it said, have you ever worked at the community school? I'm like, what do you mean by that? And then they're like, well, like we like tap into the resources and all this other stuff. I'm like, isn't that every school? Like, I don't understand that. Like, and they were like, no, I'm like, no, but every school should be doing that. Right. So like, how is that community, like outside of, that process? Like, what do you see the benefits of like being in that small area where, probably school is the place, like that, those are the places to be.
It is. And in our area, we're a family, and that's, we call it the Keeneyville family. And we really are. We support one another. We care about one another. We know what's going on in our community, and the teachers will rally around. If there is something major happening, the teachers will rally around, whether they're from this side, if they're from Hanover Park, where our district office is, or the other school in Roselle. It doesn't matter. Both towns are going to come together and rally around each other. We all go to the same place. All of our schools, we all go to the same high school. All of these kids in my district, they all come to the same one middle school, the same as with Heidi and Melissa. So that we have to be a collaborative community because we're all supporting the same outcome, that our students get through high school extremely successful and that they are set up for really strong careers, whether that be they're going to college or they're going to take a different route. We all have to support one another and be there for one another so that all of our kids can find success. The thing with having a small district is there's not a lot of experts. So that's why we have to rely on each other and people within the community, because people in our community may work in another school district. We reach out to them because they may be an expert in maybe math instruction. What does that look like? Or how does it work where you're at? We have to know what's going on in our community and have feelers out there so that we can just make sure that all of our students find success, whether they're from Keeneyville or they're from Itasca, because they're all going to the same high school.
Yeah, and that is like I love that thought of like kind of connecting with each other. And it actually, like on the day, and we talked about this too, is there is going to be a time for people just to connect. And I know like people are like talk 10-minute break, blah blah. I'm like, no, that's not what we're doing. They're going to have time to like connect and like not only hopefully learn from me. I think one of the things that I'm very passionate about is if I enter that room, you're not learning from me only. I'm learning from the district. I'm learning from your communities. I'm trying to pick up ideas from you too, because I want to get better through the process as well. But I also want to create a space where they're all kind of learning from each other. So I'm going to go to Melissa while, because I'm like have a little check mark how many times your lights have turned off while we're talking. You got like a 3-minute timer
right now. Here we are.
Right, you're expected to move like every 2 minutes. So, Melissa, have you seen me speak before? Have you ever seen me on?
I've not.
Okay, so I was like curious about this. So you have no idea what I'm going to do that day. Kind of Heidi is vouch for me. What is your hope for that day? What do you hope happens when and it's like, I'm kind of like reluctant to ask that question because I don't think it's about what you hope for me. I think it's just hope from the day of all coming together. Like, what are your hopes for that day?
I think we really hope that when teachers leave that room, they're excited and refreshed and ready to start the school year. We know that every single student is going to bring a different package to them. Every classroom is going to look different. You talked about one of the benefits of working in a small district, and I want to connect that back to this piece because I think one of the biggest benefits is that we know every teacher. We know our students, we know our families, and we know the community. So, but to be able to take whoever walks into our classrooms and just be excited for what this new school year brings, I think would be a really great way to start the school year.
Love it. Carrie, I'm going to go right to you. What do you hope for that day?
I'd love for my teachers to have a little bit of a stronger connection, or maybe a one person that they can go to in Itasca or Medina that does a similar role. So if they have a question, they feel like they can reach out of our bounds, out of our school district boundary, and have another person to collaborate with. But I'd also like them to see that we are one larger community, all feeding to the same high school, and we all have to be there for one another.
I love it. Okay, and Heidi, you get to go last on this one because you actually have. I don't know, Carrie, have you seen me speak? I don't know. Is it just?
I haven't.
Boy.
But
Oh, boy.
if Heidi's your big cheerleader, I'll be there.
Right.
I was gonna say, like, this is a lot of pressure on Heidi because, like, if I suck,
No.
it's not good. So,
Right.
all right.
Well,
So-
I hope go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I'm like, now you're probably just like, please don't suck
Yeah.
because I'm the only one. This is all on me now. So,
Yes. Well, I know you won't suck unless you're sick or something, but everyone turns into a George fangirl, and just really excited, motivated. And I know not everyone coming in might not be happy to be there, maybe because they
Yeah.
just want to still be on summer break. But knowing that they have their community, but a larger community, they're not alone, some belonging. I want us to know and recognize there's gonna be days that are gonna be super hard. It's not gonna be all sunshines and rainbows. The first day it's like, yay, I'm so excited. But just know that on the day that you might have that challenging moment, or the day you think the world's coming to an end, you have someone down the hall, down the street, or across town that can support you in all of that. So I just want them to see that there's a bigger community that is out there to help.
like I'm so excited. I have like a thing with small communities, right? Just growing up where I grew up, and there's a little part of me. I know this sounds weird. Like I'm about innovation. How we have opportunities that we never had as kids. But I'm like really big. Like, hey, we're talking about connecting with our global community all the time, but we are like losing focus on our local community. Like really, and that's where all of this starts. And it's funny, kind of going through, being a new permanent resident to the United States. I had to like get things from my hometown, like my vaccine records and my birth certificate and all this other stuff. And it's a process. But when you actually, they're like, oh, you're Mario's son. And they just like sent me stuff. I'm like, oh my God. Like it was just so much easier because like I grew up with these people. Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't have to like wait all this time. They're like, oh, we'll just email you. We're not supposed to. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I'm gonna have to cut that out. But whatever. So it was just like I really appreciate that. So I am very excited to join you all. I'll be honest, because you've hyped up your community. So I have big expectations from you. So I can't wait to join you all, everyone. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy days. This is like you're recording this in July. You're all like not supposed to be working, but you took time to be here with me today. But I can't wait to join you all. Thanks for taking time out of your day, and everyone, thanks for listening. Have a wonderful day.